Good Wednesday morning, everybody. I'm Colin, and this is another episode of C&C 5. We're going today to be talking about everything that happened yesterday, November 29th, 2022. And we're going to start with the World Cup because the group stage is drawing to a close. There were matches in Group A and Group B, the last matches in each of those groups. And I'll start with Group A, where the Netherlands played Qatar, and they won 2-0, which put the Netherlands through to the next round, to the round of 16. They actually won Group A. Then the Ecuador-Senegal game, there was a bit of a back and forth. Senegal got the first goal, then Ecuador got it back, and then Senegal got it back, and Senegal won 2-1 to advance themselves to the also to the round of 16 as the runner-up in Group A. In Group B, England played Wales, and England won that one 3-0, which won them Group B. And the US played Iran, just needed a win to advance, and they did win 1-0. It was a thriller, very nearly blew it in the last couple of minutes of stoppage time, but avoided disaster. They move on past Iran, and they're the runner-up from Group B, so we now have two round of 16 matches set. The US will play the Netherlands on Saturday at 7 a.m. Pacific time, and on Sunday, England will play Senegal. More matches coming up on Wednesday, including some beginning when this episode of the 5 is posted. Moving on to some political news. The Oath Keepers, both their founder or slash head, Stuart Rhodes, and 4 other Oath Keepers today were convicted of crimes. Rhodes and 1 other were convicted of seditious conspiracy, which carries significant punishment, and all of them were convicted of a variety of other lesser charges, including obstructing an official proceeding, but they will likely be sentenced to significant prison time at some point in the future. Also, Elon Musk is continuing his war on Apple. He's mad at Apple for really 3 things. He's mad about the 30% rule where they take 30% of revenue from apps on the App Store. Now, this actually might be a legitimate complaint because while it's been a rule that's existed for a long time, it's monopolistic behavior in some ways. We'll get into that more on next week's episode of the podcast. But there's other problems that Musk has, which is he's mad that Apple's considering taking Twitter off the App Store, which, again, potentially some monopolistic issues, but the other issue is Apple suspending their ads on Twitter, which he says is against free speech. It's not. That's literally basically the definition of free speech, is them being able to decide what to do with their ads. They're not required to advertise anywhere, of course. In the NHL, some local Seattle news, the Kraken won a thriller in overtime against the LA Kings in Los Angeles. 9-8 was the final, the most goals that the Kraken have scored in franchise history. Of course, that's not a very long period of time, but still impressive. It's also a 6-game win streak for the Kraken, which is their longest ever. And finally, the new college football playoff rankings came out. It's the final one before the official reveal, which will take place Sunday morning. And these rankings were pretty much what was expected. Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and USC taking up the first 4 spots. You have to imagine that Georgia and Michigan are locked in there. TCU also probably. USC might be in some danger, but Ohio State ranked at number 5, which is what Charlie and I predicted. Alabama was placed ahead of Tennessee, which was slightly odd given that Alabama lost to Tennessee and they have the same record. Also, Utah was strangely placed ahead of Washington, so some odd decisions not unusual for the college football playoff to make. But we will see the final rankings when they come out. And that is going to conclude this episode of the C&C Talks 5. We will probably be back tomorrow, so stay tuned.